Imagine a city of over 2 million souls, already battered by years of conflict, suddenly ordered to empty out under threat of annihilation. Families clutching whatever they can carry, fleeing through dusty streets as explosions light up the night sky. This isn't a scene from a dystopian film. It's Gaza City right now, on September 17, 2025. Israeli forces have escalated their military operation, opening new evacuation routes while intensifying bombings that have claimed dozens of lives in a single day. Today, we're diving deep into this breaking development in the Middle East, a flashpoint that's drawing global condemnation and testing the limits of international diplomacy. Stay with me as we unpack the facts, the human cost, and what this means for the region and the world. To understand today's chaos, we need to rewind just a bit. The Israel-Hamas war, now dragging into its third year, has seen cycles of violence that have left Gaza in ruins. Hamas's October 2023 attack on Israel killed over 1,200 people and took more than 250 hostages, sparking Israel's massive retaliation. Since then, the death toll in Gaza has surpassed 65,000, according to Palestinian health authorities, with entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. Israel's stated goal? To dismantle Hamas's military infrastructure and secure the release of remaining hostages. But fast forward to this week. On September 16th, the Israeli Defense Forces IDF announced an expanded ground offensive in Gaza City, the densely populated heart of the Strip. Citing intelligence on Hamas fighters embedded in civilian areas, the military issued stark evacuation orders, perish or leave, as one headline bluntly put it. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, many already displaced multiple times, have begun streaming south, only to face overcrowded shelters, scarce food, and ongoing airstrikes. The IDF claims it's opening these new routes for humanitarian reasons, giving a 48-hour window to exit northern Gaza. Yet, critics argue it's a forced exodus, verging on ethnic cleansing, as families abandon homes they've held on to for generations. Visually, picture this. Satellite images from the past 24 hours show fresh craters pockmarking Gaza City's skyline, with smoke plumes rising over schools and hospitals. It's a grim reminder that in modern warfare, the line between military targets and civilian life blurs all too easily. Let's break down the timeline of this escalation. Yesterday morning, September 16th, the IDF launched what they called a targeted operation against Hamas command centers in Gaza City's Shejaya neighborhood. Drones and artillery pounded positions, followed by ground troops advancing under cover of darkness. By evening, reports emerged of at least 20 Palestinian deaths, including women and children caught in the crossfire. Today, September 17th, the intensity ramped up dramatically. Israeli airstrikes hit multiple sites across the city, killing 37 more Palestinians, per Gaza's health ministry. Among the targets, an unrun school sheltering displaced families and a bakery line where people queued for bread, one of the few sources of sustenance in a blockade that's choked supplies for months. The IDF says these strikes eliminated key Hamas operatives, but eyewitness accounts paint a different picture, screams echoing through rubble-strewn streets, medics overwhelmed, and children wide-eyed with terror. In a move that sparked outrage, the military deployed explosive-laden robots to clear booby-trapped areas, technology straight out of a sci-fi thriller, but with very real consequences. These unmanned devices have demolished homes and infrastructure, further isolating northern Gaza. Meanwhile, the new evacuation corridor, a narrow path south through Wadi Gaza, is meant to be a lifeline. But it's a 10-mile gauntlet under drone surveillance, with reports of sniper fire and shelling along the route. Over 200,000 people have fled since the orders began, joining the million-plus already displaced in southern Gaza. Aid groups like the Red Cross warn that the south isn't safe either. It's overcrowded, with famine-like conditions looming as food aid trickles in. On the Israeli side, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended the operation during his ongoing corruption trial testimony today. "We will not stop until Hamas is eradicated," he declared, framing it as essential for national security. But even as he spoke, thousands protested outside his Jerusalem residence, chanting for an end to the war and a hostage deal. It's a rare sight in Israel, citizens questioning the cost, both in lives and international standing. Now, let's talk about the toll on people, the real heart of this story. Gaza City, once a vibrant hub of markets, mosques, and schools, is now a ghost town in the making. Families are splitting up, grandparents left behind because they can't walk the evacuation routes, and parents shielding kids from the deafening booms. The UN estimates that 90% of Gaza's 2.3 million residents have been displaced at least once. Water is scarce, diseases like cholera are spreading in makeshift camps, and hospitals, those still functioning, are rationing painkillers. Take the story of Aisha, a 32-year-old mother we heard from via Al Jazeera reports. She gathered her 4 children and fled her apartment at dawn, only to find the safe route bombed hours later. "Where do we go?" she asked, her voice breaking. Stories like hers aren't anomalies. They're the norm, and for Hamas, they're vowing resistance, using tunnels and urban warfare to bog down the IDF, but at what cost to civilians they're purportedly fighting for? Subtly, one can't help but note the irony. A conflict born from a quest for security has bred profound insecurity on both sides. Israeli border communities live in fear of rockets, while Gazans endure a siege that's starved their society. Light criticism here: international leaders have called for ceasefires repeatedly, yet arms keep flowing. The U.S. continues military aid to Israel, while Iran's support for Hamas fans the flames. It's a vicious cycle, and the average person pays the price. The world isn't standing idle, though responses vary wildly. In Europe, Spain made headlines today by canceling a major arms contract with Israel, $300 million worth of munitions, citing humanitarian concerns. It's a bold move from the EU, where leaders like Germany's Scholz urge restraint but stop short of sanctions. The UK. Protests erupted in London against President Trump's state visit, with activists projecting images linking him to Jeffrey Epstein on Windsor Castle. Talk about awkward timing amid his talks with PM Keir Starmer. Closer to home, the U.S. reaction is muted. The Biden administration, with Trump back in the White House this year, has reaffirmed support for Israel's right to defend itself, but whispers of frustration grow over the civilian toll. Trump, ever the deal-maker, might push for a broader Middle East accord, perhaps tying this to his Ukraine-Russia overtures. But for now, it's business as usual. Aid drops into Gaza, diplomatic platitudes, and no real pressure to halt the offensive. In the Middle East, ripples are immediate. Yemen's Houthis, backed by Iran, struck back with a missile on Israel's port of Eilat today, while Hezbollah exchanges fire along the Lebanon border. This isn't isolated, it's part of a powder keg where one spark could ignite a regional war. Economically, Gaza's destruction hampers reconstruction. Billions in damage, no end in sight. Globally, it fuels debates on international law. Is this proportionate force or a violation of Geneva Conventions? The International Criminal Court is watching closely, with arrest warrants pending for Netanyahu and Hamas leaders. And here is a touch of satire to cut the tension. In a world where world leaders tweet about peace while jets scream overhead, one wonders if the real evacuation route needed is for common sense from the halls of power. As the sun sets on September 17, 2025, Gaza City hangs in the balance. The IDF's operation shows no signs of slowing, with Hamas dug in and civilians caught in the middle. Will this lead to a breakthrough against militants, or just more heartbreak? History suggests the latter, unless diplomacy intervenes, perhaps through Qatar-mediated talks or U.S. pressure. For now, the message is clear. This crisis demands our attention. Support humanitarian efforts, demand accountability, and remember the faces behind the headlines. The Middle East's fate isn't just about borders. It's about humanity. Thanks for joining me until tomorrow. Stay informed, stay engaged.